Hey, Mike Brookfield's here. Welcome to another guided practice session. Today we're going to do The Weight by the band, and it's the 1994 Hall of Fame performance where Eric Clapton guests and takes his usual flawless, super cool solo. We've been checking out a lot of these kind of like guest performances solos because, I think they kind of reveal quite an interesting thing about a player, because when you're amongst your peers or your heroes and then you're pointed at to do a solo and you've got to make it count because it's only going to be like 12 bars or 16 bars long, you usually pull out the good stuff. So it's not like you're on your own gig, you're playing a slow blues and you're kind of ripping in a different way. So I think it's just an interesting to study. Like, Clapton is always fascinating for me, the way that he phrases. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here to look at the phrases. These guided practice sessions, by the way, if it's the first time that you're here, is where I take a solo and I transcribe it and I just go through the phrases. If you want to play along with Clapton, play along with Clapton, you know what I mean? But use this video to try and help get each individual phrase into your playing. Even if you just play it while you're in the car or in the background while you're working or something like that. All these phrases, because I'm repeating them and isolating them, they'll help go into your ear. So when you go to play, you'll be trying to capture those little things. So I always enjoy doing these things, because I'm trying to find those little nuggets of gold, that are hidden away. So I've put the tab up there. It's kind of hard for me to put the tab up and, do these videos. These are all one take videos, you know what I mean? So trying to navigate these things can be, kind of tricky there. So you can see the solo. It goes on to another page, just a tiny little bit. What I was going to say is, go to Patreon, download the PDF. It's free. Just join, as a free member of Patreon. Then you might be inspired to even support the channel. That would be absolutely fab. On Fridays, I like to do a song-based kind of thing, so I'll probably go through the actual song and talk through the chords and the arrangement and things like that. That's my kind of Friday session, and Sundays are kind of Q&As about kind of soloing and using, shapes and scales to get around the fretboard, and answer kind of questions, talk about gear, all that kind of thing. So please head over to Patreon and check that out. Yeah, because the PDF is handy if you print it out and stick it in front of you. But a lot of people like the PDF, the tab on the screen as well. If you don't like the tab on the screen, don't look at it. Just look at my fingers. So let's get into it, will we? So the first phrase. Okay, so we're in the key of A, which is always good. Now the audio, isn't amazing on the performance. On the Friday session, I'll dump it in an attachment there, so you can download that as well. I've slowed this down to about 80%. I might take it up to about 85% actually. So, So he goes. So what I like about that, he's just going into the root. He's going for a safe thing. He's doing an A major thing. It's like what I call a BB King. A lot of people associate that shape with the BB King thing. So he's going straight in for that. And then it's. What I like about that, it's not completely uniform. He goes 11, 3 10s, 11, 3 10s, 11, 2 10s, back to 11, 4 10s. You know what I mean? So there's a nice kind of like, there's repetition, and then he kind of just switches it up a little bit. And this is all kind of pretty, intuitive things for him. He's not really superly consciously, thinking I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. He's just phrasing, and that's what we're here for, is to pick up these little magic phrases. Now, some people don't find this particularly fascinating, but I do, because I really want to learn to sing on my instrument. And this is part of my practice where I'm learning to sing. Now, there's other parts of my practice where I'm maybe practicing scales or, exploring harmony in a different way. It's just one part of my practice. So, and I'm just sharing it with you. So let's check that out one more time. I'm just going to play it. So, brew da 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 da, brew da da da, brew da da da, brew da da, brew da 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 da. Okay, let's check out I put these into like little loops. There's about 7 little loops here. So after and I put a little X there because it's obviously 11, but it's more of like a choked slide off note. So, I've kind of written quite a lot of rhythms in on this one, I think, because I was quite interested in where he was placing notes, Okay. And then he's got this nice chromatic. So, it's the minor blues scale. So really nice kind of bit of chromaticism in there. And there's a little rake into that 12, isn't there? So really nice. Okay, is that the end of that phrase? I can't remember. Let's check it out one more time. Yeah, so that's the end of that phrase. Let's have a look at the next one. So again, super cool. He's bending. He's just being soulful. It's kind of gospel-y and, in this major tonality. So he's going, the first 2 bends are on the offbeat and then on the downbeat. So he's doing 4 bends on 12 there. This is on the 3rd line of tab now. And you can see it says PB, because what we're going to do, we're going to go da 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 da. He does that within a band, so he's gone. And we know playing notes within bends, it's the blues thing to do, isn't it? Here we go. So really, classic kind of Clapton, born out of, his love for all, the Freddie Kings and the Albert Kings, Classic stuff that, Robbie Robertson takes a solo as well. And as much as Robbie Robertson is an amazing guitar player, you can see that, like Clapton is, just a cut above the rest when it comes to just being able to drop a really great solo. And that's nothing against Robbie Robertson. I have a lot of love for, his songwriting, and, I'm a big fan. He plays a really nice intro, actually. I'll talk about that on the Friday session when I go through the chords, though. But, like, just what Clapton does is, like, it's kind of hard to think what you could do to better it. It's got soulfulness, it's moving around, it's kind of exciting. It sounds kind of a little bit dangerous because you don't know, he kind of like, he's auditioning. He wants to be in the band, doesn't he? And even though it's 1994... and it's kind of like, say, it's a good 20 odd years since he wanted to really join the band, he's still, those kind of feelings never leave you. He's still kind of almost auditioning to join the band, isn't he? Anyway, let's crack on with this. So there's a little funny thing here where, you know, I've written it's 14/12. But he can't, there's a slight miscalculation where it sounds like a half step. But like, I'm going to make it 14 to give it just a little bit more. So don't let that kind of slight miscalculation put you off learning this solo. It's a beautiful thing. You know, he's on the A. It's a real gem of a thing to know. So there's an A chord, you know, and what can you do? When you want to play a phrase, maybe slide back to the 5th of the chord. And that's that kind of like slight miscalculation. That's really super cool. And it doesn't let him, it doesn't put him off now. He's straight into... You know, a lot of musicians, it would kind of throw them, and they would, you know, they'd have to rebalance themselves and try and get back in and stop those little gremlins on the shoulder telling them that they're no good or whatever. Clapton, no big deal. He doesn't hear it as a mistake. It, you know, it's all part of the magic, so he just cracks on. So that bit... Really like that. Okay, let's check out the next bit. So he's going right up the dusty end now. Am I in shot? Yeah, I am. So we've got... So you got... Da-da-da drip, da-da-da drip. Da 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 dip, da 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 da. You know, it's just so soulful. It's just singing, isn't it? You know, it's not about, you know, kind of shredding and ripping and trying to impress. It's just a great balance. That, you know, this is what I'm here for. Da 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 dip, drip da 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 da, da 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 drip. Drip, da, 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 da. And I believe it's kind of like a style that a lot of people can really get into and practice and enjoy and get something out of. It's not like we're trying to learn, you know, another level maybe you could consider up for this would be like Derek Trucks or something, which is kind of, the detail in that is even further again. He's more like Aretha Franklin, isn't he? And he's in the way that he's kind of singing. So you could see that as being, you know, very, very advanced. But this is kind of like a level where most people can hear it and get the value out of it. If hope that makes sense. Here we go. Let's kind of crack. So we've got this. I'll just repeat that bit. Da 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 da, drip da 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 da, and then yeah. So that's nice. Da 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 da. So, you know, very on the beat there. Ba, 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 ba. So just having that kind of very major, isn't it? In the way that he, you know, he's playing the root. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the second line from the bottom now on the tab. And then you've got a repetitive lick, which is, you know, born out of the major pentatonic. And then that bend at the end with it being minor just rips into that, you know, that minor mixture of minor tonality against the major is a beautiful thing. Okay, next. Yeah, and then this it's kind of hard to hear that because he just kind of comes down. And there's no exact science to what he's doing there because it's kind of almost that Stevie Ray thing with, you know, he's hitting a bunch of strings and there's a whole bunch of things happening. So I'm doing a little trill there, you know. then that's the kind of real, almost BB King. And then this is one of my favorite little bits. That kind of down, just the way he's going to the major third. We're in the key of A. C sharp is the third, so he's going hammer into the major third. So he starts with the major third, does a little kind of, you could consider minor pentatonic, and then ends with the major third as well. You could think of, you know, major third either side, and then just a bit of minor in the middle. You know, it's I really enjoy that kind of sound. I'm just going to go back there to... So, and then there's a little three, you know, where he kind of ends on the root, and then he uses his second finger. So that's the kind of the whole phrase, if you like. So, you know, every week I say, there's the money shot there, or there's the little bit of gold. I would really, that's the lick I'm probably going to remember. If I look back on this video, you know, in a few years' time, I'm going, oh yeah, that one. Oh, my battery's running out. Okay, better crack on here. Is there any more on that? I think there's one last lick. So yeah, nice little repetitive lick. So that's really nice, isn't it? So just a repetitive. So just to clear that up, this is the halfway through the last line now. So the first bit. And then you'll see there's a little repetition sign. You do that again. And then... Then we have to go to a second page here just to finish it off. So loop 7. And so he starts with this kind of chromatic thing again. So he's coming down the minor blues, and then he ends on the 6, which kind of hints at the major. So it's kind of just this flipping of you're on minor, and then boom, he does a bit of major, and then he's on major, and boom, he does a bit of minor, you know? So... So real kind of blues, standard kind of thing, but the way he kind of jumps from the 8 to the 8 slide down, really, you know, almost Stevie Ray. But it's all born out of the same thing. It's all born out of T-Bone Walker and all that kind of stuff, isn't it? Let's listen on. And that's a really nice phrase as well. Another great great little lick, and then he goes straight, even though okay, this is the end of the first line, the lick continues straight away into the second line. So you've got this. Do you know what I mean? So you know, just to be aware of that. So listen on then. So you can hear he goes into the chuck. Now there's Robbie comes back in, and it's the wrapping up the solo, so things get a bit masked with so many things going on. But I'll try and estimate how to wrap up the solo in a tidy way for you. But it's very hard to distinguish exactly when everything starts to overlap at this point. It's really nice if you go. That's really nice. And then at the end, and then, you know, just to end it there. I've added a little trill there because that's what it sounds like he's doing. And he's, you know, perfectly resolved. So, Clapton, the band, The Weight. What an amazing song. What an amazing band. You know, Clapton, we know, is pretty handy. So we've checked out another one there. It's all good, isn't it? It's really nice to be working through these things, you know. You know, thanks for joining me on this journey of discovery of classic Clapton licks and blues licks, and I hope it really helps. Like I said, check out Patreon, give this a like, a share, or whatever you like, you know, subscribe, all of that stuff. I'll see you on the next one. Keep it burning.